My older sister was abducted by human traffickers shortly after she was born and endured unimaginable abuse. Everyone pitied her and always told me to be considerate and to yield to her in everything, but I rebelled. I smashed everything in the room, grabbed a pair of scissors, and in a frenzy, cut up all the dolls I loved. My mother screamed at me hysterically and fainted from anger. My father slapped me across the face, each hit burning with pain. My brother shielded my sister, accusing me of being selfish and spoiled. They all seemed to forget that they once told me I would always be their cherished princess, who could always be unreasonable. I was locked on the balcony to reflect. They were my closest kin and now, they seemed the most indifferent. My sister escaped from hell, covered in scars. She returned and tearfully blamed everyone for losing her and for her misfortune. The look she gave me was filled with hatred. Seeing her face, identical to mine, left us all speechless. My mother held her gently, caressing her face with trembling hands, crying uncontrollably, repeatedly apologizing. My father, with tears in his eyes, choked up as he called her name, Nana. It's all Dad's fault. That was when I learned I had a twin sister named Diana. I am Fiona. The name, Nana, which had been mine for 12 years, was never truly mine. Before my sister returned, my parents affectionately called me Nana. After she returned, only she was their Nana. My parents' kindness towards me was just to compensate for their guilt over losing my sister. Since her return, they have devoted themselves utterly to Diana. While I was completely neglected, everyone said Diana had suffered terribly. After being kidnapped by traffickers, she was sold and raised in the countryside where she faced continuous abuse. It was not until she saw me, basked in glory at a youth piano competition, that she guessed her origins and secretly fled, enduring great hardships to find her way back. Everyone told me to be understanding because my sister had suffered too much and I should give in to her in everything. I tried to get along with her, but when we were alone, she pushed me, her eyes full of resentment and bitterness. Why wasn't it you who was taken? It's not fair. Everything you have should have been mine. She began growing her hair long and mimicking my behavior, pretending to be sweet and sensible, in front of everyone. She took my hand and said enviously, "Little sister, your room is so pretty. Can I have it? Little sister, your dolls are so cute. Can you give them to me?" Upon hearing this, my mother hurriedly answered for me, "Of course, whatever Nana likes, just tell Mom, and I will fulfill your wishes." My sister hugged my mother, moved, while my father nodded in relief, and my brother looked on with sympathy. The family seemed happily united. I became an outsider. My words, originally poised to escape, were swallowed back down as I opened my mouth in vain. From then on, whatever I cherished was taken by my sister, yet, her desires extended beyond mere possessions. She was obsessively paranoid about monopolizing everything. She aimed not only to replace me but also to turn everyone against me, even wishing for my disappearance. At 17, she secretly dated a school bully who spread rumors about me at school. This not only led to my classmates despising and ostracizing me, but also to being bullied by a gang he brought along. They cornered me in the school restroom, cut off my long hair that I loved, and hurled the filthiest of insults at me. They pried my mouth open and forced me to drink alcohol continuously. I cried until there were no tears left. The strong alcohol upset my stomach, causing me to vomit repeatedly. Diana watched my miserable state with a victorious smile, passionately kissing her bully boyfriend nearby. Eventually, Diana brought me home, pretending to care for me worriedly, yet she stuffed my bag with cigarettes, alcohol, and condoms. When my mother found these items in my bag and saw me lying on the bed, drunk and reeking of smoke, she was furious. She doused me with cold water, waking me abruptly. Still trapped in a nightmare, I shivered in fright. My mother, looking terrifying, screamed at me, accusing me of shamelessness, smoking, drinking, and premature dating. All at once, I desperately shook my head, insisting I was innocent and that Diana was framing me. Immediately, Diana squeezed out a few tears, making a pitiful scene. "Mom, it's all my fault. I should have stopped my sister and told you about her premature dating earlier. I didn't want to upset you." No one believed my words, yet they took Diana's words as the absolute truth. My parents insisted on taking me to the hospital for a checkup, which I vehemently refused, prompting my father to hit me. Perhaps they felt guilty the first time, but with each subsequent time, it seemed more justified to them, and the beatings only got worse. Eventually, I was numbly placed in the car, numbly laying on the hospital bed, numbly undressed, and numbly examined. The news of me being taken to the hospital for checks spread quickly through the neighborhood and school. Rumors circulated wildly and inaccurately. People behind my back judged and speculated that I not only smoked, drank, and fought, but also had affairs with several boys at school, got pregnant, and then had an abortion. Slander after slander was thrown at me, painting me in the worst possible light. Of course, there were also those who overly sympathized yet fanned the flames, adding more drama to my already tragic narrative. From then on, each time my parents saw me, they berated me, accusing me of disgracing them and making them lose face. At the peak of these rumors, I was nearly expelled from school. At that time, my world was enveloped in darkness, and decay seeped into my soul. I became withdrawn, lost my appetite, and suffered through endless sleepless nights. Whenever I closed my eyes, all I could hear was the sound of mocking and accusatory jeers. I felt sick, broken, and life seemed utterly pointless. I wondered if only my death would convince my parents of my truth, stop the rumors, and make them realize their mistakes. Yet, I lacked the courage, fearful of walking the path to the underworld alone. At just 17, there was so much I hadn't done, so many places I hadn't seen. I wasn't ready to give up. Aimlessly, I wandered the streets, unsure of where to go. At the corner of an alley, I saw a boy leaning against the wall, hands in his pockets, with the lush bougainvillea casting a large shadow over him. Joey extended a hand towards me, holding out a lollipop. Want some candy? I had been secretly harboring a crush on Joey. He would borrow my homework to copy, and I would ask him to teach me how to solve problems. We had taken turns cleaning the classroom, reading together in the library, and daydreaming in the corridors. He was a detached and aloof person. We actually spoke very little, and our friendship was shallow, but every interaction with him made my heart race with a secret joy. I longed to be close to him, but not in the way things were. I least wanted him to see me in my current disheveled state. I turned to leave hastily, but he stepped in front of me, calmly unwrapping a candy, and said, "Open your mouth." Mesmerized, I slowly opened my mouth, and he placed the lollipop at my lips. I tasted its sweetness as tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. However, my secret was soon discovered by Diana. She stole my diary and had someone read it over the school's public address system. My carefully guarded emotions were mocked and broadcast for all to hear. I confronted her, asking why she would do this to me, yet, she hid behind her brother like a frightened kitten. Her acting was so convincing that her brother believed her. It was the first time my brother got angry with me. The first time he scolded me, "Fiona, have you no shame? You've made so many mistakes, yet you show no remorse and even bully Nana. It seems everyone has spoiled you too much." In that instant, I felt an immense disgust for my own name, and all my grievances and anger erupted. Diana took everything from me, my dolls, my room, my parents, and my brother. She plunged me into a world of rumors where everyone despised me. Now, she even wanted to destroy my innocent crush. I lost my senses, ran home, and smashed everything in my room, madly cutting up all my beloved dolls with scissors. My mother screamed hysterically at me, fainting from anger. My father slapped my face several times, the pain burning intensely. My brother shielded my sister behind him, calling me selfish and spoiled. They all forgot they once said I would always be their precious princess, who could be unreasonable at any time. I was locked on the balcony to reflect. They were my closest blood relatives. Yet now they were the most indifferent and cruel to me. On a January night, I shivered from the cold. I was actually very afraid of pain and of death. I crouched on the ground, curled up. The cold wind was like knives, slicing through my limbs. The pain was so intense that I eventually felt numb, my consciousness blurred. Yet I vividly felt my life ebbing away. Through the glass door, I saw they were still angry with me, still comforting my sister, yet no one turned to look at me, not even once. They pressured me to apologize, promising to let me in if only I would apologize to my sister, but I had done nothing wrong. Why should I apologize over and over again? I clenched my teeth tightly, my eyes losing their sparkle. Eventually, I was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment due to severe frostbite and nerve damage, deaf in one ear and my hands uncontrollably twitching and trembling. It meant that I could never play the piano again. My dreams were shattered. I closed my eyes in despair, feeling like a battered doll devoid of any will to live. My mother stayed by my bedside day and night, crying and begging me to wake up. My father, overwhelmed with guilt, repeatedly slapped himself. My brother gripped my hand tightly, as if he feared I would vanish the next second. It seemed like they truly regretted everything, but the price I paid was enormous. On the third day of my coma, I heard a gentle voice, "Fiona, open your eyes, don't be afraid. I'm here to help you." Ripples spread across the lake of my heart, both warm and painful. It was Joey. His words enchanted me again, and I opened my eyes to the gentle moonlight spilling everywhere, clinging to him like a lifeline. I shook my head frantically, babbling incoherently. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I wasn't messing around with other guys. I know. I believe you. Feeling believed was incredibly comforting. Gradually, I calmed down from my helplessness and despair, though tears kept streaming down my face. Joey's fingertips were cool as he patiently wiped them away. He said he wanted to take me somewhere, and I followed him without hesitation. When my parents realized I was gone, they were frantic. They feared I would leave them forever, consider suicide, or live forever in guilt. They searched for me desperately. My brother kept calling, but I didn't answer. All I wanted was to escape. I followed Joey, walking deeper into the dim alleyways until we stopped in front of an abandoned factory. There, I saw the bullies from school who had tormented me, despite being battered and bruised. Just the memory of that day made me tremble with fear, and I stepped back repeatedly. Joey held my hand, warm and strong. "Don't be afraid." But there was a fierce look in Joey's eyes I had never seen before, full of hostility that was both alien and frightening. The bullies, seeing Joey, crumbled like they had seen a demon. Their legs gave way, and they knelt before me, endlessly apologizing and begging for mercy. Joey covered my eyes and then kicked the bullies hard. I could hear their painful groans and Joey's chilling voice. He told me I could hit them to vent my anger, just as long as I didn't kill anyone. I pulled Joey's hand away and looked at him, asking, "Did you beat them?" "Yes, I had no idea you could fight like that. There's a lot you don't know about me. Want to find out more?" His invitation should have pleased me, but his eyes flickered with evasion and unease. Joey handed me a phone, and in the gallery, aside from the video of me being bullied, there were intimate photos of Diana and the bullies. I hadn't expected that. On the surface, Diana played the role of the good girl, but behind the scenes, she was wildly out of control. The things she did were so extreme that I couldn't stand to watch. With this evidence, I can prove my innocence and ensure Diana never recovers from this. I looked at Joey with gratitude. Joey responded casually, ruffling my hair. "If someone bullies you, hit back. If you can't beat them, bide your time until you can. At such a young age, don't think about giving up. It's exactly what they want." Joey really wasn't great at comforting people, but his gesture made my eyes tear up. "Got it, boss," I replied. This time, I wouldn't hold back or forgive Diana. When I got home, I immediately showed my phone to my parents. They took it, puzzled, and began scrolling through the gallery, their expressions growing increasingly grim. As expected, they couldn't bear to look until the end. My mom seemed devastated, collapsing silently onto the couch. Diana panicked and tried to snatch the phone away. In a fit of rage, my dad threw the phone at her, striking her above the eyebrow and drawing blood that trickled down from the corner of her eye. Staring at the shattered phone, Diana was stunned into silence, but finally, she spewed the most venomous curse. "Fiona, why don't you just die? Why did you have to come back? Why did you have to destroy everything I had worked so hard to achieve?" Diana staggered to her feet, her gaze dark and stormy as she scanned everyone in the room, then suddenly screamed, "I did nothing wrong. It's all your fault." She hummed a strange tune as she returned to her room, locking the door behind her. The sound of her crying was piercing. A shadow hung over everyone's heart, and our once warm home felt irreparably broken. Yet, the next day, Diana acted as if nothing had happened. She was cajoling her mom about wanting to eat hairy crabs for dinner, reminding Dad not to forget to buy her a large crystal ball on his way home from work, and urging her brother to hurry and bike her to school. Everyone ignored her, but she immersed herself in her own world, still acting like the beloved little princess she once was. At that time, I thought she was pitiful, but I later realized how truly terrifying she could become once unhinged. Although Diana faced punishment, my life was completely ruined. The rumors continued to assault me wherever I went. People looked at me strangely and mocked me unabashedly. I hated everything around me, and I hated myself even more. I despised that I looked exactly like Diana and that people couldn't tell us apart. She wanted to mimic me, to replace me, so I discarded all my old likes. Since cutting my hair short, I never let it grow out again, and my gaze never regained its innocence. I was caught in a deep, conflicting pain I couldn't escape from, and as time passed, my family's guilt towards me slowly faded. I demanded that Diana apologize to me in front of the whole school, but they disagreed. Fiona, Mom knows you've been wronged. It's all my fault, but can we just let this go? Let time heal everything. You're asking Nana to apologize in public. That would ruin her. Blame me instead. I admit I was wrong. I failed to discipline you kids properly, Mom said, becoming emotional and unable to hold back her tears. But I refused to compromise and was determined to clarify the facts. Dad was also angry. You become so heartless. What's the use of an apology now? Nobody cares about the truth. Bringing this up again will just make our family a laughingstock once more. Is that what you want to see happen? Honestly, I never truly intended to destroy this family. I just wanted a sign of affection from my parents. If they could just show a little more favoritism towards me, perhaps I could soften my heart. But they didn't. Although I had anticipated this outcome, it still hurt me deeply. If I am to suffer, then let everyone suffer too. Dad, Mom, even though the phone is smashed, I have backups of those videos and photos. If Diana doesn't apologize, I'll release them publicly. At that moment, Diana came over, her face pale, pretending to be pitiful and trembling from the cold. I'm willing to apologize, Mom and Dad. I truly realize my mistake, despite it being deep winter. She was wearing a thin spaghetti-strap nightgown, revealing old scars on her body, jagged and glaring, a shocking sight. She was reminding everyone again of the cruel abuse she had suffered. Sister, I really know I was wrong. I know you hate me. Why don't you slap me a few times to vent your anger? I'll do anything as long as you can forgive me. Diana grabbed my hand and started hitting her face with it. My brother couldn't stand it anymore and draped his coat over Diana. Looking at me with a conflicted and pained expression, Fiona, consider it a plea from your brother. Please don't escalate things further. Okay, Mom is so upset she's become ill again. Can't you think about this family for once? Diana always managed to easily earn everyone's forgiveness. They began to blame me again, as if I were the main culprit. But have you ever considered me? I ran out of the house in despair, the harsh cold wind piercing my bones, my heart even colder. I wandered aimlessly, eventually stopping in front of a barbecue stall. Young lady, would you like some barbecue? I shook my head, but I have no money. The owner smiled and then ignored me. Just then, a warm coat was draped over my shoulders. What would you like to eat? It's my treat. I looked up and saw Joey, and tears unconsciously started flowing again. Joey tousled my hair. What's the matter? You've been bullied badly and didn't cry. But why do you always cry when you see me? I made an excuse. The smoke from the barbecue got in my eyes. Eventually, Joey and I sat by the roadside, munching on grilled chicken wings. We didn't say much, but I felt my mood gradually improving. It was a strange feeling. Joey, watching the dark night enveloped by the cold wind, spoke in a melancholic tone. Fiona, I'm not really a good person. Would you still like me? Yes. Joey was amused by my serious response. And I, realizing later, blushed. That night, we made a pact to get into university together, to escape this place, planning our uncertain future together. Naively, I believed that if I could just survive the college entrance exams, if I could just get into a good university, I could change my current situation. So, I stopped caring about others' opinions and no longer yearned for my family's affection. I have devoted all my time and energy to studying. After classes, I always study with Joey. We complement each other's strengths and weaknesses and encourage each other. Although studying is exhausting, I always see Joey smiling. When he smiles, his cute fang shows, which is truly charming. His smile makes me smile too, and brightens my mood. Thanks to Joey's company, I no longer have nightmares, suffer from insomnia, or feel scared. I study until 2 a.m. every day, and when I'm tired, I just rest my head on my desk. When I wake up, I find myself covered with a warm blanket. And there's hot milk and bread snacks on the desk, courtesy of my mom. It's been a long time since I last spoke with my parents. However, my mom always comes into my room when I'm asleep, covers me with a blanket, tidies my messy hair, and watches me for a long time, shedding tears of self-blame. But I know that as long as there's a grudge in my heart, it's hard to return to the past, so I always pretend to be asleep, cherishing my mother's long-missed tenderness during this period. Because I have been working extremely hard, I've made rapid progress and ranked within the top 3 in my class. Even my teacher publicly praised me, saying I have a good chance of getting into University A. I'm filled with hope. Little by little, I'm overcoming my nightmares. Little by little, I'm getting better. Joey said he would reward me with a trip to the amusement park. Holding my phone, I was so happy that I rolled around on the bed with joy. The next day, I left home early and even bought many of Joey's favorite sweets. However, I waited at the amusement park entrance for a long time and Joey didn't show up. He didn't reply to my messages or answer my calls. I had eaten so many lollipops that my tongue was sore and blistered. Then, my classmate sent me a message, continuously apologizing. Confused, she sent me a video. The moment I played it, the familiar, harsh cries frightened me so much that I threw my phone away, crouched down, and shook with fear. It was a video of me being bullied. Someone had posted it online and it spread wildly. Diana's inappropriate videos and photos were also exposed, leading to fierce public condemnation. Everyone finally saw Diana for who she really was, and she was verbally attacked and became a pariah, under public pressure. The school asked her to leave and stay at home. Diana finally faced punishment. I should have been happy, but why do I feel so suffocated by reality? I was so close to escaping this place, so close to completely escaping this nightmare. Why did it turn out like this? Rumors fermented again, and none of us escaped the attacks. Unable to accept reality, Diana grabbed my clothes and frantically questioned me. I already apologized to you. I was ready to get along with you. Why did you still harm me? She locked herself in the bathroom, submerged in the bathtub. Diana had slit her wrists. By the time her brother broke down the door, she was already in a deep unconscious state. Blood continuously overflowed from the bathtub, spreading across the floor. As I looked at her face, identical to mine, pale and bloodless, I momentarily felt as if I were the one who was dead. Diana was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. She was incredibly lucky to have survived after such a severe attempt and substantial blood loss. My parents cried and blamed me, questioning how I could be so heartless and push my sister to such desperation. This time, I offered no explanation. I retreated to my room, staring blankly at Joey's profile picture on WeChat, and at the last message he had sent me. He wrote, "I'm sorry, but I couldn't believe that Joey was behind this. I needed to confront him in person." However, Joey had not been to school for several days, and the teacher said he had transferred. I still didn't believe it. I refused to accept that everything Joey had told me before was a lie. I found Joey's home address, mustered all my courage, and rang the doorbell at the grand entrance. A nanny let me in and led me to the living room, where I met Joey's father. He looked down on me from his lofty position, not even lifting his eyes from the newspaper as he said, "You must be Fiona." Aware of my tarnished reputation, I nervously nodded and said, "Uncle, I want to see Joey." "There's no need for that. He doesn't want to see you either. The videos and photos were all sent by my son. That's all the answer you need. I advise you to be aware of your own situation and stop bothering my son." "I don't believe it. Joey, come out. What does this hiding mean?" I almost shouted, hoping Joey would hear me and come out to clarify things. Unfortunately, I never saw him. Treated like a lunatic, I was thrown out of the Joey family home, but I couldn't let go, almost obsessively sending him messages and calling him every day. Without exception, all went unanswered. Joey had vanished from my world as if he never existed. Diana was soon discharged from the hospital. She resumed her life as if nothing had happened, wearing her deceitful mask, pretending to be sweet and sensible to gain sympathy from our parents and brother. My mother nearly shadowed her constantly, while my father tried to fulfill her every request. Meanwhile, my relationship with my family plummeted to rock bottom. We couldn't even sit at the same dining table for a meal. I felt utterly superfluous in this house. Late at night, I would toss and turn, unable to comprehend why I couldn't feel happy, even though those who hurt me had been punished. To distract myself, I devoted all my time and energy to studying. At times, I studied until I felt sick, but I dared not stop. On my way home from school, I would continue to recite my lessons, fearing that even a moment's pause would engulf me in suffocating despair. Then, at the street corner, Diana appeared. She blocked my path and said, "Fiona, today is our birthday. Would you come with me to a place?" Looking at her was like staring at another version of myself. Her innocent and charming face, coupled with a harmless smile, belied the dark and terrifying soul hidden beneath her youthful exterior. I wanted to ignore her, but she suddenly covered my mouth and nose with something, knocking me out. Diana then called her boyfriend, the school bully, David. He took me to an abandoned factory. Since being expelled, David harbored a grudge and was looking for an opportunity for revenge. Together with Diana, they kidnapped me. "Don't be scared. I love Nana, and you look just like her. I wouldn't want to hurt you, but that Joey, I'm going to make him pay today," David said as he kept calling Joey, threatening him to hurry over or else I would suffer a terrible fate. But Joey didn't answer. I thought maybe Joey didn't care about my well-being at all. David grew increasingly agitated, venting his anger on the debris at his feet. "David, I'm hungry. Go get me something to eat," Diana said, sending David away and approaching me. "Mom and Dad told me we're moving soon, to a city where no one knows us, to start over." My heart sank. Were they planning to abandon me, sister? "I've decided to stop targeting you, but why can't you let me go? Why must you drive me to death?" Diana grabbed her hair, consumed by extreme agony. "Why can't you just disappear? Why do you ruin everything I finally achieve? I hate this feeling of insecurity. Why do you get everyone's attention and love without doing anything? I loathe it. I'm so jealous. Mom, Dad, and brother. They can only be mine. They can only love me." Diana pushed me toward the railing. "Have you lost your mind?" I tried to snap her out of it, but she was beyond help. "There's only room for one Nana in this world," she said as she pushed me off the building. As I fell, my initial panic and fear turned into a resigned smile. She murmured repeatedly, "There's only room for one Nana in this world." A cold wind howled past my ears as I crashed onto the ground, feeling as if my organs were shattered. I heard Joey's heart-wrenching screams calling my name. Joey finally arrived, seeing me severely injured. He knelt beside me, crying uncontrollably. "Fiona, don't be afraid. Hang in there. The ambulance is coming soon." I vomited a mouthful of blood and murmured faintly, "That day, at the amusement park, I'll wait for you. After a long, long time, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." As I was lifted into the ambulance, through my tears, it seemed as though I glimpsed the beautiful scenes of my childhood. I once believed I was the happiest person in the world. My parents used to say that I was their cherished little princess. I had everything a child could wish for, beautiful dresses and loads of adorable dolls. Even my birthday parties were grand celebrations with 2 large cakes and double the exquisite gifts. My brother, half-jokingly complaining of our parents' favoritism, would remember my birthday wishes and sneak me out for some roadside barbecue. "Nana, are you silly? Just tell me if you want barbecue. Using a birthday wish on that is such a waste," he'd say. With him, I could always be capricious, knowing he'd always be there to protect his little sister. As the birthday candles flickered joyfully, everyone clapped their hands and sang to me, "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nana. Our precious princess, Nana, make a wish. Today is also my birthday." Looking at Joey's despairing face, I sincerely wished, "God, I just want to live well." I heard many voices talking incessantly by my ear, but other than the sound of crying, I couldn't make out what they were saying. Through the blur of my tears, it seemed I could see scenes from many years later. Diana and David ended up in prison and eventually died there. As for me, I was in a coma for 5 years. Slowly, I opened my eyes and saw my parents, much older now, their hair filled with gray. Overjoyed to see me awake, they stumbled over their words and hurried to call the doctor. After the checkup, the doctor confirmed I was normal, much to their relief. When my brother heard I had woken up, he rushed over but stopped at the door of the hospital room. His hair was messy, his eyes red-rimmed from staying up nights, dark circles under his eyes. I hadn't known that he had become a detective, recently solving a major child trafficking case. They chattered on about many things, and I listened quietly. After being discharged, Mom busied herself preparing a feast of my favorite dishes. Dad, wearing his reading glasses, was earnestly folding origami cranes. "Dad, what are you doing? I remember, when you were little, you said if someone folded 1,000 cranes, their wish would come true." you've finally woken up. And I'm just 6 short, I need to finish them quickly. Dad was actually an atheist, but at that moment, he resembled a devout believer. Mom called him to come eat. Stubbornly, Dad replied, "You go ahead, I'm almost done," but his movements were so slow, he wouldn't finish by tomorrow. My brother served me my favorite ribs. "Fiona, eat up, don't mind Dad. He's just going through a rebellious phase with his midlife crisis." I chuckled softly, savoring the meal my mom had prepared, as I gazed upon my dad's stooped figure. A warm feeling flooded my heart, yet tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. After dinner, my brother insisted on taking a family portrait. He set up the tripod and secured the camera. "Mom and Dad, stop looking at my sister and face the camera. 3, 2, 1. He counted down before rushing over to join us, but tripped and tumbled into the frame, sending us all into fits of laughter. The camera captured this heartwarming scene perfectly. After my bath, while I was in bed playing on my phone, I heard someone throwing stones at my window. I opened it ready to scold whoever it was, only to see Joey, dressed in a sleek black suit. He looked coldly handsome, standing lazily against a black Maybach, holding a large bouquet of roses, flashing a dazzling smile at me. My heart raced, and I ran downstairs, slowing down as I approached him. "Is there something you need?" "I'm sorry I'm late," Joey said, pulling me into a tight embrace as if he feared I might disappear the next second. "You're hurting me," I protested gently. Joey then recounted an incident from 5 years ago. He was supposed to meet me at an amusement park, a date he had been looking forward to. However, his father found out and was furious. Jamie, a man steeped in hypocrisy and vanity, who indulged in debauchery yet wouldn't tolerate any embarrassment from his son, had beaten Joey severely with a stick, breaking his leg and confiscating his phone. To sever Joey's attachment and to punish me for my involvement with his son, Jamie had maliciously leaked videos and photos online. On that day, Joey knew I was looking for him. He heard my voice calling his name and wanted to respond, but weakened from days of a hunger strike, he had no strength left to speak. As Joey spoke of his father, his eyes filled with hatred. Becoming more agitated, I tiptoed and kissed his parched lips, whispering, "I believe you." Joey, touched and somewhat dazed, touched his lips, murmuring, "Not enough." Confused, I smiled. "What did you say?" "Fiona, let's get married." My heart skipped a beat. "What? Say that again." "Fiona, I love you." Bathed in moonlight, with stars twinkling above, Joey cradled my face and kissed me tenderly, clutching the roses. The dim streetlights elongated our entwined shadows. Joey and I planned our wedding on my birthday, where in front of our loved ones, we exchanged vows, rings, and a passionate kiss. That day, we received many blessings, and those were our happiest moments. After the wedding, Joey finally showed his true colors. He was like a greedy, clingy child, seizing every opportunity to wrap his arms around my waist unexpectedly. Then he would start to whisper and coax me into the bed. In our most intimate moments, Joey would hold me close, his face just inches from mine. He looked at me with deep affection, his eyes soft and earnest. Reflecting my bashful image, he let down all his guards around me, his gaze warm and genuine. With just one look, I felt as if I was melting. "Fiona, let's never part." Okay, we should have lots of kids, and I promise to be a great dad." "Okay." Normally, such topics made me shy, and Joey, noticing this, paused seriously awaiting my response. I laughed and playfully threw a pillow at him, saying, "Having kids is so painful, you have them yourself." In the ambulance, the nurse tirelessly continued to administer emergency care to me. As my drifting consciousness slowly returned and I gained brief clarity, my gaze fixed on Joey. He was pale, his face marked with injuries, and he kept explaining why he had missed our meeting. I opened my mouth, wanting to say, "I believe you," but no sound came out. "Fiona, we promised to get into university together, to escape from here together. We made a pact. Please don't break it." Okay. My soul drifted away, and my hand reaching for Joey suddenly fell. Joey frantically grabbed it, a look of utter despair in his eyes that seemed to spread endlessly. I so wished for a better ending with him. I so wished to live properly. Unfortunately, God did not hear my earnest prayers. God only pitied me. I was merely living a fleeting dream. I died on the way to the hospital, on my birthday, when my family received the news. They hurried to the hospital, but it was too late. A white cloth covered my face. Devoid of any sign of life, my mother didn't make a scene. She thought I was just sleeping and didn't have the courage to lift the cloth to look at me one last time. She kept calling my name, Nana, stop oversleeping, wake up, come home with mom, but no matter how much she pleaded, there was no response. Hearing my mother's trembling voice, my father couldn't hold back his tears and turned away to cry. My brother was consumed by endless guilt. My funeral was well attended and lively. Relatives and neighbors said, Fiona was always a well-behaved and sensible child, only 18 years old, and now she's gone. It's so tragic. Teachers and classmates said, Fiona had excellent grades. She definitely would have gotten into a prestigious university if not for the accident. Everyone recognized my virtues, and the slanderous rumors about me finally stopped. Indeed, death is the greatest filter in this world. After my death, my mother remained outwardly calm from beginning to end. She firmly believed that one day I would return. She went out daily to buy my favorite dishes, telling people, our Nana loved to eat. She especially liked the ribs I cooked. Mister, please remember to save me some fresh ribs tomorrow, ma'am, buying candy for your child. When our Nana was little, she also had a sweet tooth, always yelling for lollipops. She even got several cavities, and now that she's grown up, she still likes them. I'll buy a few for her too. This dress is beautiful. My Nana is 18 now, a young lady, and it would look so good on her. She immersed herself in her own world, filling my room with a bunch of useless stuff and mumbling to herself while clutching my clothes. My father buried himself at his desk, clumsily following video tutorials with his reading glasses on, trying to fold origami cranes. He ruined many pieces of paper. Sighing in frustration, he lamented, why didn't I pay attention when Fiona was teaching me? He didn't give up, as if channeling all the patience of his lifetime into that small piece of paper. As the night deepened, the dim desk lamp cast a lonely, aged silhouette of him. Diana had attempted suicide in prison. She hoped to gain everyone's sympathy through this act. But this time, her parents did not soften their hearts. They didn't visit her even once. Her brother, disillusioned, asked her, why did you do this? Do you have any regrets? I want to see mom and dad. Please, brother, let them come to see me. I'm so scared. Save me. I don't want to stay here anymore. They won't come anymore, and neither will I. He replied. Diana was driven into a state of extreme madness. You can't do this to me. You can't be so heartless. You can't abandon me again. Please, brother, don't go. It was only when Diana was nearly dead that they came to see her one last time. Diana, barely alive, pleaded, Dad, Mom, please don't lose me again in the next life, okay? I don't want to be the child that nobody likes. I'm scared. Suddenly, her mother started crying confusedly. She's not Nana. Where did my Nana go? She's gone, and I need to find her. Her mother had developed a mental disorder, at times unable to distinguish between reality and illusion. Diana died. Her brother became a detective, handling a severe case of child trafficking, placing his life in jeopardy. Every night, their father sat at the desk, under the desk lamp, his aged hands trembling as he folded origami cranes, like a devout believer. Meanwhile, her mother waited every day for her Nana to return, but there was no Nana left in the world. Side story, Joey perspective. Fiona died in the year Joey loved her the most. Joey had cherished his unspoken confession. And Fiona would never know that the boy she had secretly adored also loved her. Clutching her suddenly limp hand, Joey felt her warmth slowly turn cold, and something vital inside him shattered. Eventually, Jamie dragged Joey back home, beating him mercilessly, saying, I warned you, if you dare go near that girl again, bringing shame on me, I'll kill you. Lying numbly on the cold floor, Joey did not resist as Jamie brutally kicked his chest and back. He felt his ribs breaking one by one. The intense pain oddly comforting. He thought of Fiona lying in a pool of blood, fallen from such a height, bleeding so much. She must have been in pain. He hated himself, thinking if only he had arrived sooner, Fiona wouldn't have died. He stubbornly believed he was the cause of Fiona's death. You still dare glare at me, you brat. Think you're tough, I'll show you, Jamie said fiercely, and eventually, Joey was hospitalized, staring at the pale, bleak sky through the window. He remembered the abyss of despair that had once consumed him. His mother, unable to bear Jamie's domestic abuse and infidelity, had chosen divorce and abandoned him. Fleeing abroad, Jamie then took out all his anger on Joey, smashing his head against the wall, throwing him to the ground, and kicking him a meter away, his back slamming hard against the edge of a table. Joey had vomited from the beatings, suffered continuous high fevers at night, enduring both pain and cold. Gritting his teeth to survive, online, he posted excessively hateful comments, eager to grow up, to escape, to make those who hurt him pay. Amidst the mockery, a netizen named Shadow consistently left messages for him, a literature enthusiast. She shared healing words and favorite songs with him daily. From initial disdain, Joey gradually began to look forward to her messages, like a dazzling light piercing through a dark, cold night. Fiona's essays, often used as model essays circulated in their grade, had a unique allure. Joey would deliberately slow down, reading each word carefully. He felt as if he had gone mad, brainwashed by Shadow, a fan of the very flowery language he had always despised, until he read a line Fiona quoted in her essay: "The world is mad, inhumane, corrupt, yet you remain gentle, lucid, untainted." Joey's heart skipped a beat as he realized belatedly that Fiona was Shadow. She had entered his world a year earlier, crashing her bicycle into his life, her face flushing red as she repeatedly apologized. Joey, usually so resistant to others' closeness, didn't understand why Fiona was an exception. Only later did he understand that Shadow had already taken residence in his heart. She was pure and warm, like the winter sun, yet cruel rumors dragged her into hell. 5 years later, Joey finally managed to bankrupt Jamie's company, plunging Jamie into debt and disgrace. He had achieved his long-sought goal of pulling Jamie from his hypocritical pedestal, letting him taste the bitterness of mockery and bullying. It was the day he had longed for, and he wanted to laugh, but instead, he found himself trembling and crying. He could never escape the nightmares of his youth. His longing for Fiona grew increasingly uncontrollable. Sometimes, upon waking in the morning, he would see Fiona lying beside him. She appeared as she was in her youth. Her face flushed as she intently watched him, her index finger carefully counting his eyelashes. Joey wanted to hold her, desperately trying to grasp something tangible, but she would vanish, leaving behind only the cold air, his adult body curled up, momentarily merging with the frail, pitiful figure of his youth. On Fiona's birthday, he made a wild decision. His mood improved for the first time in ages. He was exhilarated, singing joyful songs and dressing up ceremoniously in front of the mirror. Finally, dressed in a sharp black suit and holding a large bouquet of roses, he slowly walked towards Fiona's tombstone. Joey stood there for a long time without saying a word, gazing at Fiona's photograph and smiling faintly. As dusk fell, Joey placed the roses at the grave and murmured, "Shadow, I have arrived late. Fiona, let's get married." That's all about this story. Do you have any insights after watching the above story? Feel free to tell us in the comment sections below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe my channel please. See you next time.